So my great grandpa and grandma always used to tell me that you are the future and you can do anything. They would always tell me this if I felt down or just really not good about myself at the time. Looking back on it now, they told me this so I would be confident in myself and know that I can do things and know I can do everything that I want to do. They also told it to me to boost my morale and just really tell me that I can do what I want, even though you may think that you don't want to do what you want. My great grandparents, they grew up in the tail end of the Great Depression, so this caused them to work for small wages when they were younger. And they told they were always. I remember this one story where there were cookies in the pantry, and a mouse had ate them, and my grandma thought my grandpa had ate them, and she was really mad because those 25-cent cookies really made that big of a difference. And my grandma, she used to always she'd get mad at me if I threw away like a Ziploc bag or a plastic fork because she thought that that was just materials that couldn't be wasted. But on the other hand of that, my great grandpa told my dad that the second million is easy, the first one is harder. When my dad told me this quote after my grandpa had passed, it really meant a lot to me, just showing how much they had actually worked after going through all of the struggles that they had gone through when they were younger. My grandma backed the story, and I was really surprised by it, so it was just a good thing to show how hard they worked and then told me how hard I can work. My grandpa was one of the least boastful men I think I'd ever met, even though he was only here with me for a short time. He always, you wouldn't have known. He drove a little Toyota pickup, and he told my dad about millions of dollars, so you would have never known. And my grandma never drove the nicest car. I mean, she had a nice car, but it wasn't like a Lexus or anything like that. So my grandpa drove a truck at Frito-Lay. He had over 1 million safe miles driven, and my grandma was the county clerk in Wabaunsee County. So showing that they worked hard even when times are rough, and saving your money and pushing through all of that is easy, and that they just shows that. This has driven me to work hard as I can whenever I can. Always try to do my best and work my hardest because it just shows that if they can do it when they had really poor times, and if I ever have really poor times, just to keep going and going. And they even save money when they didn't have to. Like, my grandpa was retired and he had a stroke and he was paralyzed, so he didn't really do much. But my grandma still took care of him most every day until he passed. So, and then my great-grandparents, they took care of me about every day until I went to preschool. And even then, they still took care of me after I was done in preschool. And I spent the summers with them up until I think I was in 8th grade. I know that I'm lucky to have the relationship with my great-grandparents, as most people don't even get to meet their great-grandparents, and most people aren't even alive at the same time as their great-grandparents. And it was really just a great time with them, all the time that I could share with them, and that's it.